Hey everybody, this is Doomhammer with another weekly update for the 32-team franchise. Starting out on Thursday Night Football, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Bills. They just made two trades. They got rid of their running back, Maurice Jones-Drew, and they picked up a third-round pick, sent him to the San Francisco 49ers. And they also got rid of one of their cornerbacks, kind of picked up a sixth-round pick and another kind of a backup corner. But here they are. They get the win over the Bills. You see Big Ben with 2 touchdowns, no turnovers. They pick up LaDainian Tomlinson in free agency after getting rid of MJD. As you can see, he had 4 carries only, but tied Lamar Miller with about 39 yards. I gave Miller a lot of carries, and he just did not run the ball well at all. But we will see if the young running back is able to grow. If we take a look at him, stats this season, I don't know why it's white. Maybe I should recommend they fix that. But like 17, -4, 0, 39. Not an ideal start for him this season. But we'll see if he starts to pick up as the season progresses. We see Delaney Walker, the tight end. He's been having one of the top tight ends in the league, 133, 35, 63. But then he picks up 130 in this game. Jared Cook has been injured for a few weeks, and I kind of built the Steelers sort of like the Patriots were with Gronk and Hernandez. This time it's Walker and Cook here in Pittsburgh. 2 really good tight ends. Cook came over in free agency but hasn't played a snap yet for Pittsburgh due to that preseason injury. Manuel played a little bit as Tim Tebow. He had like one late pass because I was trying to get EJ Manuel some time. The Bills are 2-2, so they're not giving up yet. However, Tim Tebow has not been playing well this season. 3 interceptions, 1, 2. He's got 2 touchdowns on the year. He's 2 touchdowns to 7 interceptions, 637 yards. So I don't think he had the first week was 244 yards, and after that he has not been over. He was actually under 100 this past game. So Tebow not really coming through. He's had some rushing touchdowns though. We see Emmanuel getting a rushing touchdown. And Deji Karim, their lead running back, not having a great game either. But as we move over to the Browns versus Ravens, again, this is Vince Young playing for the injured Terrell Pryor. Colin Kaepernick with 3 touchdowns, 248 yards. Ray Rice with 81. Donald Brown, 14 yards, each a touchdown. We see Felix Jones only with 22 yards. George Bell, 21. Travis Benjamin, I think he's a sophomore. Yeah, the second season. Leads the Browns, but just was not good enough. Dwayne Bowe getting 100 yards. Demarius Thomas right there for the Ravens. And then this is Donnie Avery getting another touchdown for the Ravens. This is a big win for them. They go up 2-2, and that means they lead the AFC North with a 2-2 record. Then we've got the Oakland Raiders taking on the Chiefs. This was a game that was very, very close, and there were a lot of close games this week. We see the Chiefs actually having a pretty good performance by Brandon Weeden, but it just was not enough to outpace Matt Ryan. We see the 1 turnover from Weeden being detrimental in this close game. Sean Green almost 100 yards. Richardson only 55. Kevin Smith with 22. We see rookie Justin Hunter having a pretty solid start to this season. 68 yards. I guess maybe it's not that good of a start. But it's Brian Hartline who's been having a 92, 175, 108 yard games. A little bit slower today against Oakland. But in this, Oakland goes up 2-2, and the Chiefs are 1-3. Then this was, I believe, the overtime game that we had. The Giants, who were, I think, 2-1, and the Vikings, who were 2-1. 2 really tough teams. You got RG3, who went 2 of 2 for touchdowns, interceptions, 272 yards, and then Carson Palmer, who was 3 of 3. More turnovers, but he had another touchdown, which helped them get that victory. We see Ryan Matthews, 96 yards rushing, and a touchdown. I believe that was the game winner. Then Doug Martin, 61 yards and a touchdown. We see Harry Douglas finally having a pretty solid game for the Vikings, which he had 95, 87 yards, and now he had a first 100-yard game. Thielen has been pretty slow as a receiver. As you can see, I think this was his best game with 40. He does not have a touchdown yet, and he is a late-round rookie. He was a 5th-round pick. Colston, he hasn't done much. He had 32 receptions in week 4. Doug Baldwin has been pretty active for the receiving core in Minnesota. And it's been Devin Aroma Shodu for the Giants. I mean, it's been 135, 106, 106, 86, all pretty solid for them. And you can see 3-touchdown game against Philly. But the Giants end up taking a lead in the NFC East because of that victory. Now, the undefeated Titans fall to the winless Jacksonville Jaguars. We see Colt McCoy with a pretty solid game, a pretty good game manager game. 237 yards, 1 touchdown, getting their first win of the year. We see Tavares Jackson with 165 yards, touchdown, interception. And then you see Jonathan Stewart with 52 yards and a touchdown. Cedric Pierman with 78 and a touchdown. Steve Smith, who's been pretty quiet this season, and he was like the leading receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Pretty slow start, but he had his first 100-yard game. Tavon Austin, their 3rd overall pick, kind of had some decent games in the middle here. We see 2 touchdowns there against Philly. I guess Philly's allowing a lot of big games, big touchdown games to certain receivers, but only had 1 reception against the Titans. But that didn't matter because Chris Owusu, know who he is? No? Yeah, that's okay. But he's been pretty solid for them. He was a late-round pick, and he's contributed fairly well in his career in Jacksonville so far when he had his rookie year last year. Then we've got the Atlanta Falcons squeaking a very tight victory over the division rival Panthers. They both were 2-1, and the Falcons were able to come away with the victory. We see 3 rushing touchdowns for LeGarrette Blount on 3 carries, and 150 yards for the rookie Le'Veon Bell, who has really elevated this team. I know with the 6th overall pick, they had that from the Kansas City Chiefs, because the Chiefs traded back into the first round in 2012 to get Brandon Weeden. And so they gave away their first-round pick in 2013. That's how the Falcons, who were in the playoffs last year, got a top 6 overall pick. And they went with Le'Veon Bell to give them that powerful running game that they were missing. And he had 132 yards in his first week, 3 touchdowns, 72, 76, and then now another 150-yard game. Let's see. Julius Thomas leads the receiving room, and then T.Y. Hilton did very well for the Panthers, getting a big touchdown catch. As you can see, both of his touchdowns were pretty big touchdowns. Booker and Tate combining for about 75 yards. Then we've got the Eagles falling to the Detroit Lions. So Detroit gets their first win of the year to a team that I thought should have had the easy victory. The Eagles are way more powerful than the Lions, but they were able to pull it off with 3 total touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, Bush and Tannehill getting 1 in. We see the 3 touchdowns for McNabb, just not enough to come as the Lions come away with the victory. Then we had a shootout here in the NFC East between the Commanders and the Cowboys. We see the Commanders get their first win of the year with Michael Vick returning from his kind of scattered injury this season. And then Russell Wilson played incredibly well. 4 touchdowns, 1 turnover, 270 yards. We even see him with 66 rushing yards. Peterson with 2 rushing TDs. This was quite the slugfest. We see the running combined between Vick and Goodson with 88 yards apiece. And Vick getting 3 rushing touchdowns. So that was a 6-touchdown day for Michael Vick against the rival Dallas Cowboys. So exciting game there. Hope you enjoy the viewing of it in the earlier video. But I don't think the Commanders are going to make much of a turnaround this season, but we will see. But they at least keep Dallas down. Then we've got the Chicago Bears with Jason Campbell getting 185 yards and 3 TDs. And then you see Alex Smith there with 2. These were 2-1 teams, and the Jets fall to the Bears, who take on the top NFC North spot. Campbell plays fairly well. I mean, he's got 3 interceptions on the year, 9 touchdowns, 770 yards. He's been playing well this year, and I think he's going to continue. I don't know what it is about the makeup of his overall, like his different stat line, but I play very well with him. I mean, Jay Cutler as the backup, I think it was a good fit. Anyways, we see Clinton Portis with 108 yards rushing. Andre Brown got 2 carries there. Wes Welker, Harvin, and then Lewis and Myers kind of getting a little bit of that attention from a 131-yard game by Alex Smith, which for a 97 overall quarterback is not really what you want to see. But we see Darius Hayward-Bay in his first game as a Chicago Bear. Let's see, does it actually show his... Yeah, it shows his games against when he was with the Commanders. But he gets 49 yards here in his debut as a Chicago Bear. We'll see how his season shapes up as a new member of Chicago. Then the New Orleans Saints just put a smackdown on Andrew Luck's Rams. We see 3 interceptions by Andrew Luck, major reason why they lost. As you can see, it was a running game. We had Mendenhall getting a touchdown, a sophomore undrafted player, Edwin Baker. We see John Kuhn, the fullback, getting a touchdown. Isaiah Peed getting 69 yards. Very nice. We see Leftwich with 240 yards, a touchdown. Geno Smith also getting involved with a late game, just not garbage time because they were in the lead, but giving him some snaps this season because right now Leftwich is the bridge quarterback, and we'll see if he stays as the bridge quarterback or if I give Geno Smith some playing time this year. But if the Saints keep winning, they're going to keep Leftwich. If all of a sudden the season's over, then we may look at putting Geno Smith in. But we see Brandon Marshall, Greg Olsen, Deion Butler, man. This guy, I love him. 97 speed, 99 acceleration, 98 agility. Don't know how he got rated that way, but he was a 7th-round pick by Atlanta or however long ago, and he has been just a gem. He's been fantastic. But yeah, so the Rams fall 1-3. Saints go 2-2. They're still 4th place in the NFC South. And then we got the Seahawks taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So the Seahawks have replaced Eli Manning as starting quarterback with Mike Glennon. He is the rookie. I think, what was he? He was a 2nd-round pick. So it didn't take long for them to push Manning to the side. We see a terrible rushing game. I can look at it now and just see how bad it was. Lynch only getting 2 carries and 5 yards. The rookie they acquired in the Mario Williams trade to the Giants goes for about 10 yards, 11 yards. 1 touchdown for Lynch though. Josh Morgan, the former Patriot, he has a big game for the Seahawks. But this is a 2nd game back with Josh Gordon, and we see Josh Gordon getting 101 yards receiving after being suspended those first 2 weeks for his marijuana issues. We see Jeremy Maclin, Peterson, D'Angelo Peterson. I don't even remember him. But this undrafted tight end really comes through for us, getting a touchdown for Tampa Bay. We see Blaine Gabbert with 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and McFadden 138 yards as the former 2,000-yard rusher displays this fantastic running game, and even Javid Best 24 yards. So Tampa Bay is the only team in the NFC that remains undefeated, and Seattle is, I think, the only team in the league who is winless. Speaking of the other undefeated team, we have the Miami Dolphins with Cam Newton, who we can see had 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, just mediocre game. That's all he needed against this Bengals team, who's also 0-4. I guess I was wrong. We had, I guess the 2 undefeated teams and the 2 winless teams face each other this week. Neither could break their winless streak or their win streak. And so we see Marino getting 63 yards. We see Spaeth, the tight end, getting 83 yards for the Bengals. But it was Calvin Johnson Jr. with 119 yards and both touchdown grabs to end the game there for the Dolphins as the victor. Then we got the 49ers squeaking out another tight victory here over the San Diego Chargers. Both teams were 2-1, and the 49ers are able to ascend to the top of their division. Breeze having a balanced game there. We had 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 213 yards. Rodgers not throwing much, only 123 yards. We see Foster with 53 yards rushing, but it was kind of a modest game for them. Devin Hester had like a cross route that he just got the catch, and he ran in for a touchdown. Big play for him. As for the 49ers, we seem to be more of a committee here with Des Bryant. This is James Jones, Alshon Jeffrey, all getting some action there. MJD, Maurice Jones-Drew, getting 59 yards in his debut as a San Francisco 49er after the Pittsburgh Steelers trade. Antonio Pittman still got a few carries and 31 yards. Even Dion Lewis was involved with 13 yards. I'm still going to use Dion Lewis as more of a receiving back, and so we'll see how his receptions go as the season progresses, because now we have 3 decent running backs, but I think Pittman and Lewis, they're both like 72 or 74. What is it? A 74 overall, and I think a 75, excuse me. And then they add the likes of Maurice Jones-Drew, who's just a much better running back. As you can see, a previous second-round pick from Pittsburgh, now getting a shot here in San Francisco. And then we got the Arizona Cardinals defeating the Denver Broncos. Another 2-1 battle in this week. Dalton getting 4 passing touchdowns. Mike Wallace with 3 touchdowns and 129 yards. Mike Wallace has been stellar this season, and he continues to show up. We see Darren Sproles for the Cardinals going 113 yards on the ground and 7 receiving. But Dallas Clark also being involved. So it's really a tight-knit group there for receiving, but Mike Wallace makes it happen, and the Cardinals win. Sam Bradford, as you can see, had 213 yards, touchdown, interception, also ran one in. We see Zach Ertz, the rookie. He's been having a slower season, like 22 yards, 113, 0, 61. Overall, right, he's got 2 touchdowns on the year. Compare that with Kelsey, who's with the Commanders. Kelsey's just blowing everybody out as a tight end and as a receiver. Then we get to Sunday Night Football, another close game. I think the Patriots won with like 7 seconds left, or like single digits. Brady coming back from that game. He did throw an interception, but Stafford threw 2. We see kind of modest stats there, 227 yards and 199 for each quarterback. Jamal Charles getting 44 yards. We see LeSean McCoy with 29, so a slow game from the running game. But Andre Johnson with 130 yards and all 3 receiving touchdowns. Malcolm Kelly, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, he's got a big frame. He's 6'4". He was really good for Pittsburgh, even though his overall was always low. But he gets some catches here for New England. Leonard Pope, 26 yards. He's their big tight end threat. We see Jordan Cameron. He's in Brown in real life, but he was the 4th-round pick for Green Bay Packers, and he's been a pretty solid tight end for them. I've been enjoying his contributions. We see Randall Cobb and Antonio Brown getting in there too, and then LeSean McCoy also gets a touchdown through the air. And then we have a shocking victory here. Texans able to punch in a field goal to get the victory over the Colts. We see Sanchez with 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Brady Quinn having probably one of his worst games of the year, I believe, with 2 interceptions and nothing else to show for it. Let's see. He had 4 interceptions. Yeah, he's starting to decline a little bit. They do have Kirk Cousins, who could come in as a starter. However, I'm unlikely to make that switch because Brady Quinn did take them to the AFC Championship game. So we will see if the Colts decide to make that change at quarterback or if they just stick with Quinn, as he's kind of he's playing a lot better as a game manager, and he's winning games for them. But if he stops winning games, we might swap out the younger man. And we can see Johnson, 73 yards, which is kind of low for him. The rookie Theo Reddick getting 2 rushing touchdowns on 2 carries, all on the goal line. One of the big displays here was Stephen Hill, who was a rookie last year in the 2nd round. He has a big game, 145 yards and a touchdown. DeAndre Hopkins has also another big game, rookie this year, 23rd overall pick. And we see him with 1 reception, a big 43-yard touchdown. Earl Bennett also getting some attention too. So when we look at the standings here, you can start seeing how the league is starting to shape up, but this is the way too early standings, because literally any of these teams can come back. I've had it before where my Denver Broncos were 0-7, and they come back and they make it into the playoffs. So it's not uncommon for me to have teams turn it around. But we can see that right now, Cardinals and 49ers are at the top of the West after 3-game win streaks. We see Tampa Bay leading the NFC entirely, and Falcons right behind them. Bears and Giants leading their divisions. Miami is ahead of New England by that game because they beat New England. The Ravens are just above the Cleveland Browns. We'll see if that continues. And even Pittsburgh has a way of coming back. They have a very solid team, and I don't think they're going to stay low for long. The Bengals, I don't know how they're going to win games. They're that bad. But the Tennessee Titans, 3-1. They lead their division for now. We will see if Sanchez is able to pull off a miracle with Houston or if they make some moves. Indianapolis Colts are 2-2, and then Jaguars are 1-3. And then it's all up for grabs here in the AFC West. I mean, I think the Chargers are the most talented team with Aaron Rodgers, but Denver and Oakland could possibly surprise. We'll see how the season goes. If you want to see the league standings from conference, they're right there. But we'll do a quick stat review. So right now, Carson Palmer is leading the league with Ben Roethlisberger, Brady Quinn, Matthew Stafford, and Robert Griffin. Another reason why I would not move Quinn out, because he is leading the league there with passing yards as the third ranked guy. Top 5 all have 11 touchdowns, and then Mark Sanchez does lead the league in interceptions. Then we have Le'Veon Bell, the rookie, leading the way. Darren McFadden just 5 yards behind him. Adrian Peterson, Ryan Matthews, and Ray Rice. And we can see the top 19 there. As for touchdowns, we see Jonathan Stewart is leading the way with top 5 with Portis, Blunt, Forte, and Peterson. Blunt not having many. He's got like 9 carries and 5 touchdowns. So he's only carried the ball 4 other times he didn't score. So we definitely know what he's being used for. Then Mike Wallace is back on top as the leading receiver, and this is shocking to me because he was with Minnesota for quite a while, and I don't know, do they have this? Okay, they don't have the stats for everything, I don't think, for each season, but he's been kind of undervalued in Minnesota, and he is just catching fire this year. Travis Kelce also top 5, Devin Aromashodu, and Pierre Garçon. I'm going to go through these a little faster. You can pause if anything sticks out to you. But now you can see right now it was Cleveland with a lot of sacks, and other people are catching up now. We see 7 people have 3 interceptions this year. And as for field goals, let's go with, I can't sort any of these, so we'll just, if anything sticks out to you, you are welcome to pause the video. Now, one development that I'm trying to think of, and you can share your thoughts if you want, is with the Seattle Seahawks. They have Eli Manning. Eli Manning was brought in to be their superstar quarterback, and from the Kansas City Chiefs. He signed here, and now he's 32, and he's a bench player, but he's an 86 overall. And so I don't want to have him ride the bench too long. So here's my theories. The Baltimore Ravens are 2-2, and they have Colin Kaepernick in his 3rd year. Kaepernick is coming off of 2 really hot weeks, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. We see 214, 246 yards, and then 80s in the completion. So he's doing well. So if he keeps that up, I think they'd stick with him. But this is a team that's 2-2, and they want to win a Super Bowl. They want to make it to the playoffs. So will they do that with Colin Kaepernick? Or would Eli Manning elevate the Ravens to a Super Bowl type team? Could they make a trade for Eli? There is some other options too. Looking at the Houston Texans. So they are 2-2. They are the 8th seed. And so what they could potentially do with this is, with Mark Sanchez being inconsistent, pull him as well. Problem is he's also 2-0 after winning 2 games in a row. However, the Texans are they're winning maybe in spite of Mark Sanchez, right? And they've got some good weapons around him that maybe we could upgrade. So the Texans are an option. I did float the Commanders. However, Michael Vick is 33, Eli's 32. I don't know if it's the right move there. It's possible. I thought about the Eagles because they have Donovan McNabb, who's 36 years old, and he's getting closer to retirement. Do they bring in Eli Manning? But again, he's 32, so you're not really bringing in a young quarterback. I mean, there's a chance I could try for Alex Smith with the Jets, or like a swap of like Phillip Rivers or something. But I don't know if that's a right move for them. Although Ryan Tannehill in Detroit hasn't been winning games, he's still progressing. I don't know if they'd abandon this rookie so soon, or their sophomore so soon. They could potentially, right? Tannehill hasn't been winning games. So Detroit could be an option for Eli Manning. The Chiefs technically are a great spot, but that's where he was before. So I don't see the Chiefs letting Eli Manning go and then making a trade to bring him back. Potentially they could, and that could be a fun storyline. But let me know if any of these pique your interest for Eli Manning. But yeah, thanks for watching this, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.